Right now, the Pretendos are desperately trying to find something to hold against Super Princess Peach Showtime. Oh, Super Princess Peach. Princess Peach Showtime. Like, they've been trying to manufacture controversy about this game for a long time. Like, I've seen people say it's woke. I've seen people say it's it's too feminist. Like, I've seen people say it's not a real Mario game, that it's a low budget title, that it's not a major release, that it's a mini game collection. Like there's all this like weird slander being thrown at this game. I imagine because there's this very strong desperation from the community to continue to pretend as if like the Xbox and PlayStation are relevant, right? Right now, Princess Peach Showtime is like the major Nintendo Switch release of the year, and everyone's trying to downplay it. Everyone's trying to like hate on the game and like make things up about it and create conspiracies about it, right? And it's gotten to really weird territory. So much so that I haven't even really talked about a lot of it yet. Like a big reason I haven't talked about this game before is that like I felt like Nintendo hasn't shown it enough. But now that I've like played it myself, I can tell you that the game is stellar and I'm really looking forward to it. So what has happened? Like, what is the controversy I'm referring to? Like, what could be so unbelievably obnoxious that it has Harmon Smith making a video? Like, we all know how difficult it is for me to complain about things that people have said about Nintendo on the internet, but like Princess Peach Showtime really has been a weird magnet for this kind of stuff. And I do think it is purely because it's the upcoming Nintendo Switch, the major upcoming Nintendo Switch exclusive. Right? This is just trying to downplay the Switch. Let's not like let's not what do you how do you say it? Like uh cut any corners? Is that the expression? Let's not ignore the reality of this situation. Okay, this is like the anti-Nintendo agenda at its finest, right? This is pure pretendo copia. So, what am I actually talking about? Like, what are people upset about? What are people complaining about? They're complaining that they don't know who made the game. That's right. Nintendo, for some reason, has not credited Goodfield Games openly for the development of Princess Peach Showtime. And there's been a lot of speculation as to why. They did the same thing for Another Code R. Like, there's been like all this talk and speculation, like, oh, is it produced in-house? Is it produced by a studio we know? Is it a new studio? Is it made by Next Level Games? Like there was all this like discussion about this, but people really tried making a conspiracy about the situation. People really tried to pretend that this proved that this was like a D-list studio making the game and it wasn't going to be any good and stuff like that. And I do think this kind of goes into like the root of the problem as to like why Nintendo isn't talking about like studios who make games pre-release because I've noticed this too, and maybe you have. There has been a lot of discrimination against certain studios in recent years, right? I remember when like Next Level Games got acquired by Nintendo and everyone tried to say they were like a bad acquisition or whatever. And I was like very open about that, where like I was just like Next Level Games is awesome. You know, they produce like Luigi's Mansion 2 and 3, they produce like Mario Strikers, they produce like Punch Out Wii, you know, which is a fantastic Wii game in its own right. Like Next Level Games is awesome. Okay, Federation Force, like they've had a really good track record working on Nintendo properties, and I'm really happy to see Nintendo acquire them and have some Western talent under their belt, right? You know, they are probably Nintendo's best Western studio right now. And don't tell me Retro is better because Next Level Games actually produces content. So yeah, I was very defensive of Next Level Games when that happened. But I think that situation kind of established like the trend that a lot of people have fallen into, right? The trap, like thinking that only in-house is worth supporting, right? Only Nintendo's internal studios produce good Nintendo games, and if it's something is second party or third party, oh, we can't support that. You know, I've seen a lot of people like speak out against intelligent systems or HAL or like the Pokemon Company, Game Freak. Like it's really common to see people like discriminate against studios simply because of what they make or their past history or whatever, completely disregarding the quality of the game they're making, right? Like I've said this a lot. Like I have been addressing this a lot, but like people actively look for things to complain about. Like just look at that guy on Twitter who's constantly complaining about how we haven't gotten a new Donkey Kong game in 10 years. Hey genius, it's been 20 years since we got Super Princess Peach. You know, Star Fox fans had to wait longer than that for a real sequel to 64. Like, yeah, your last game was Tropical Freeze, one of the best platformers ever made. Oh man, what a terrible travesty. Like, shut up. Like, play something else. You know, like it's that kind of situation, right? The complaints about Goodfeel not being credited for Super Princess Peach are simply because people wanted to be able to complain about the studio that was making the game. They can't complain about the way the game looks and how it's not something that Nintendo themselves would have made if they're not entirely sure whether it was developed internally or not. Right? Like that is, I think, that the mindset behind like not releasing this information because we've seen this happen too many times. Like it has become a legit problem where people are judging games that we know nothing about purely based on who's making them, right? And that has become like that has become kind of an issue. And it just goes to show you just how desperate people are to complain about Nintendo stuff in 2024. Like they knew nothing about Princess Peach Showtime. They knew nothing about what the game actually was, but they were really desperate to try and convince themselves that this wouldn't be a real game. Right, that this wouldn't be a real Mario game. This wouldn't be on par with like most other Nintendo spin-off series. They were like really anxious to write this off as shovelware and something that isn't worth talking about, but instead, we learn that the game is being developed by Goodfeel Studios, who have a really good track record, who are just fantastic at making, at utilizing Nintendo IPs in fun, unique ways. And like, I'm sure a lot of people are trying to complain about Princess Peach Showtime, are trying to complain about Goodfeel, but it's too late now, right? The game is in full hype mode. Like, people are excited for it. I'm excited for it. I'm thrilled for it. People like there will be no downplaying Princess Peach Showtime at this point. Like the game is going to do phenomenally well. It is going to be really popular. Like people are going to love it, and the Pretendos are going to see it, right? Once more, Nintendo Switch gets another game that's better than Baldur's Gate 3, and there is absolutely nothing you can do to stop it.